snowing. What is that? What is that? Good morning everyone, and welcome back to another video. Right, so today I am going to be doing a mandala on a little round 30 centimeter canvas, and it's again going to be a easy mandala, and I'm going to be taking it slow, and I'm going to be showing you very slowly, very carefully. So I want to do a proper tutorial on how I'm doing it so that you can see exactly. Now, I'm no expert, but I do enjoy doing them. So, you know, as a beginner, you can definitely see what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And with practice, you can take it further and expand and do your own thing. I just want to show you just, you know, how I do my mandalas. Okay, so here is my little canvas board, and I've painted it black. I like painting a black background on my mandalas, but you creating your own art, so you can do any color you want as your background. But for me, on a black background, the colors pop. That's why I like doing a black background, but it's up to you. Now, the paints that I use to do my mandalas are, I like using paints like these. They're in little squeeze bottles. Now, if you get an acrylic paint that's in a little squeeze bottle, you pretty much know the consistency is going to be okay, because if it can squeeze out of this little squeeze bottle, it's not too thick, because you don't want the paints to be too thick. That's the problem. Now, if you get acrylic paints in tubes or in tubs like this, this paint is very, very thick. Now, you can still use it, you just need to mix it with a little bit of water, just to water it down slightly so that it gets to about the same consistency as these paints. Now, as you know, I do acrylic pouring, where I take these paints and I water them down with pouring medium and with water. So when I mix paints to do my acrylic pours, that's the right consistency to do mandalas. So I'm going to be using some of my paints that I've mixed up to do acrylic pours. I'm going to be using some of these. For instance, I've got silver. I want a metallic on here, so I've got silver, and this turquoise also has metallic in it, so I want to use those two. Here's another example, these Decart metallics, also in little squeeze bottles. Again, this is the right consistency to use as they are, little squeeze bottles. So if you can find Decart in these little bottles, they'll work. Then to do the mandalas, you use dotting tools. Now, these are my dotting tools. Again, I say, if you don't have dotting tools yet, go around the house. Anything that has a round, flat bottom to it. I mean, just as an example, I can use the back of this paintbrush. I can make a dot with that. Or if I want a smaller dot, I just, you know, smaller paintbrush. The back of a pen, bottle lids on bottles. Anything that has a round, flat top on it will work. So you go around your house and you just look for anything with a round, flat bottom to it, in different sizes, and voila, you've got dotting tools. So all these are, you get them in different sizes. I'm sure you can see the size on that. all different sizes, and then you get the, you know, and they're all just different sizes. And then these ones. So they're not expensive to buy, but if you're just starting out, I wouldn't rush out to the shop and buy some. Rather just go around the house, find anything that you can use and give it a go first. Like toothpicks, for tiny little dots, toothpicks work. Earbuds, take the cotton off of the earbuds and you've got a thicker dot on that stick. You know, anything. I have dotted for a long time without dotting tools. I only bought the dotting tools after I realized I enjoy doing these and I'm going to be doing more of them. Then I went out and I bought the dotting tools. So then my paints, I just put them in, you know, one of these little containers. You don't need a lot of paint to do these mandalas. So, you know, these little compartments are enough to do this painting at least. I bought these off Amazon, and they are just little stencils. Okay, now I use these because it just makes my life easier. You can manually do it with rulers, and you know, you can do it manually, but to me, if you can buy these stencils, and they are so cheap to buy, you know, but usually you would do it with, you know, and measure it out, and you know, who's got time for all that? so I just use these little stencils to mark off a grid that I use to do my dots on. Right, finding the middle of your round canvas. Trust me when I tell you, it's more difficult than you think. You would think, oh, there's the middle. No, you're going to be wrong. So what I do is I take a piece of paper, cut it out the size of the canvas, and there's my middle. That is how I do it. So I've made a big hole. Doesn't need to be so big, but there we go. There is the middle of my canvas. Just put it down in the middle, and then just mark some grid lines. Oops. Like that. Okay, and then you can use one of these to make some circles around. Okay, and then we're just going to make some circles around, so push that in. Now, you can, of course, draw your grid lines all the way to the ends of the canvas, but to be honest, what I'm going to show you now is I pretty much work off the dots that I already have down in the row before, and working off those dots, I know where to put the next dot. So, you know, to start off with, it's nice to have grid lines, but you don't need to put the lines all the way across unless you are wanting it to be absolutely perfection, which, I mean, I'm sorry to say, even with grid lines, I can't get mine perfect anyway, but I'm just going to do a couple grid lines like that, and then I will just make these a little bit longer, just like that. Okay, so I always start with a big dot here in the middle. Choose a color, any color, and you just dip your tool in, and holding the tool straight up, push it down, and you can just lift it up and down a little bit like that. Not bad. You can make the dot thicker if you wish. You can just add some more paint. Not bad. Right. First dot down. Now, we are going to start with the dots around that. So, we want to get the dot as close to that as we can without it touching. No. Okay, so we're just going to put the dot and put the dot and put the dot and just go around. If the dots touch, they would run into each other, and that is what you don't want. And I mean, it can be fixed later, but it's just easier to try not to let them touch. So I'm just putting one of these dots on the grid lines that I have created. Okay, like that. Now, in between those, I'm going to be putting a smaller dot. So right in between, I'm going to be putting one of these tiny little dots. This is where a toothpick would work. A toothpick is thin enough to go right in between other dots because it is so sharp, you know, sharp little point. Ooh, they're touching. Okay. Alright, that's not bad. I am now going to make quite a big dot. Trying to think where I want it. I'm going to put it above the white. So in the middle of the grid lines. And this is why I say the lines that you put down, the grid lines you put down, I mean, they're there to help, especially in the beginning, the first couple rows. But now I'm basing my next dot where the white dot is. So that's why I said you don't really need the grid lines all the way down your painting. They do help, but it's not necessary. So, and then in between that, I'm going to put a smaller dot on the line. Like that. Okay, quite a big dot now. So, going to be taking a bigger dotting tool, and on those lines I'm going to be putting a bigger dot. Now when you make the dots, the paint does flatten after a couple, less than a minute. You know, they flatten down quite a bit, and that is what you want. Like I said, if your paints are too thick, they're going to make a mound, and that mound is just going to sit there. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to walk the dots. Right, I'm going to be putting a dot at the top of the green, and then just carry on dotting. Don't put more paint on, just carry on dotting. So start at the top and just carry on dotting down. And the dots will get smaller and smaller and smaller as you go down. And I'm going to place just a dot here. So I don't have a plan before I start dotting. I just dot. And now I'm just filling the space. There's a gap, so I'm filling the space. But the thing is you want to do the same thing all the way around. You've got to have the same pattern all the way around. So just filling the space, that's all. Okay, so this is what I've got so far. Now, it's not perfect. I mean, the colors are running into each other a couple places. It is fun. It's fun. Like I said, we can always, when it's dry, just go back and touch up. It's fun. It doesn't matter. So I am going to go right above that yellow. And I am going to start at the top and dot down, and start at the top and dot down the other side. Start at the top and dot down. Start at the top and dot down. Make a dot and drag it down. Make a dot here in the middle and drag it down. Make a dot and drag it down. Make a dot and drag it down. Well, like I said, I never really have a plan when I do my mandalas. I just paint. I just paint. So, I mean, I wish I could tell you that I planned in my head what I was going to do before I started, but no, I didn't. Oh, from here go down, from there go down. Just keep grabbing paint from the top and drag it. And then stop, come back, go down, come back, and yeah.